Hi everybody, this is a co-op Latin lecture for the 12th of February, and this is for Latin 1A and 1B. Alright, so last week, this is review, lesson 14, what we did last week, was over the first declension of nouns. Remember we said that nouns have declension in the same way that verbs have conjugations. So a noun, let me see if I can mark, Okay, a noun has a declension, and the declension tells you what family the noun belongs to. And we learned the first declension last week, the first family. Mensa is the model noun chosen to illustrate the first declension. The stem of mensa is mens. To find the stem, you drop the nominative singular ending a to find it. To decline it, you have to then add the different case endings. So what we did in class is we practiced doing just that. We first found the stem, and then we added the different endings. The first declension endings are I, I, arum, is, as, is. And that's how you want to say them. If you notice, and we talked about this last week too, there's a little line over top of that A for the ablative singular. That is a long mark, and the long mark just makes the sound be held longer. So, for example, the nominative A sounds like ah, so mensa. The ablative singular A sounds like this, mensa. It's literally just held out a little bit longer than the short A. And that long mark is called a macron, as your book tells you. In English, the words the, and an are called articles. Latin doesn't have any articles, and so you can translate, for example, you can translate mensa as the table, a table, or table. And all nouns whose genitive singular form ends in ae, that is I, belong to the first declension. So you can tell what family the noun is in by its genitive singular ending. And for the first declension, all the genitive singular endings are I. Okay, so just for review, let's find the stem for each of these words, or at least some of them. So the first word, farmer, we want to cut off the A from the nominative, and that's our stem, agricole. Okay, so then we can decline it by simply adding the different case endings, I, arum, is, as, is. For Italia, we have to cut off the A, and we get Italy as our stem. Maria would be Marie, mensa, mens, nauta, naut, poeta, poet, puella, puel, Regina, regine, Roma, rom, and terra, ter. And to each of these, you would simply add the different case endings to decline it. All right, another rule we learned was that Latin has 3 genders for every noun, or every noun has one of 3 genders. So the 3 genders are masculine, feminine, and neuter. And you abbreviate them by just writing the first letter of the words, M, F, and N. First declension nouns are usually feminine, and that's the gender rule for the first declension. So the way that is put is right here. 1DF means first declension nouns are feminine. The natural gender rule is something else that sort of trumps the declension. So looking at this note here, some nouns have natural gender in addition to their grammar gender. Maria, Puella, and Regina name female persons, so they are feminine by nature. However, Nauta, Agricola, and Poeta are masculine by nature because they name male persons. Excuse me. So the natural gender rule in G says that nouns that name male persons are masculine and nouns that name female persons are feminine. Natural gender trumps all other gender rules. So even though most first declension words are feminine, natural gender trumps the gender rule. And so we have farmer, poet, and sailor as masculine nouns. Those are pretty much the only exceptions. There may be a couple of others, but those are really the only masculine first declension nouns. All right, so let's go on to the next lesson now. All right, so this lesson is over the second declension, so the second family of nouns. And servus is the model noun chosen to illustrate the second declension. Its ending is us. So you can see here that the endings are us, e, o, o, e, orum, is, os, is. All right. The stem of this noun is serve. For these nouns, you drop the nominative singular ending to find the stem. So here we would drop the us off of servus and find that our noun is serve. For other vocab words, let's do it. So agnus, we drop off the us and we get agn. Okay, amicus would be amic. Anus would be an. Christus would be Christ. Deus, de. Dominus, domin. Equus, equ. Filius, fili. Mundus, mund. Servus, serve. And that's all of them. So those are the stems. And you find them by dropping the us from the nominative singular form. Second declension nouns that end in us are nominative, or in the nominative singular, are usually masculine. So this is the gender rule for the one of the gender rules for the second declension. You can see that here in brief. So 2D us im. That means second declension us nouns are generally masculine. All right. Now, Deus and Dominus are capitalized when referring to Jesus or God. Use lower cases when referring to pagan gods. So you see here in the vocab, Dominus and Deus, these words mean God and Lord or Master. When they refer to Jesus or God, you have to capitalize them. But when we're referring to other gods or just other people in the case of Master, then you would not capitalize them. All right. Now let's look at this grammar point. The subject of a verb is in the nominative case. To form a plural subject, use the plural nominative case ending, e, for the second declension us nouns, and I for the first declension nouns. All right. We'll get to that in some practice. Now about this one. English words that show their first and second declension origin by retaining the plural endings are alumna, alumni, alumnus, alumni, formula, formulae, or formulae in English is how we would say it, cactus, cacti, fungus, fungi. So all of these are examples where in English we use these words. So one graduate from a college or school would be called an alumna or an alumnus, whether it was a male or a female. And a group of them would be called alumni or alumni. ne, as in to refer to a group of people. Same with formula, formulae, cactus, cacti, and fungus, fungi. All right, so I have the answer key right here, so I give you the answers, but that's okay, we can look at this. So annus, this is the nominative singular form because it ends in us, and it means a year. Then we have mundus, which means world, and it has the us ending, so it's nominative singular. This form here is the nominative plural ending, amici. So we would say not friend, but friends. Same with this equi. Equi is the nominative plural form, so we would say horses rather than just horse, etc. And I'll let you do that one on your own. Finish up the exercise. All right, now a little bit for the Latin 1B students. So if you're in 1A, you can end your video right now. But 1B students, you pay attention. So this is the Unit 4 review this week. That's what we're on. And the Unit 4 covers the 3rd, 4th, and 5th declensions. Now, the 3rd declension has all 3 genders, as we know, and the masculine forms are the same as the feminine forms, which isn't to say that each noun could be masculine or feminine, but that they're declined the same way, whether they're masculine or feminine. The neuter has slightly different forms, as we've gotten used to, where it's nominative and accusatives match, and the plurals are all neuter. The 4th declension is usually masculine with some exceptions, and the 5th declension is usually feminine, as we remember. 1st and 2nd declension adjectives can modify 1st through 5th declension nouns. In each example below, the adjective agrees with its noun in gender, number, and case, but not declension. So here they're just pointing out that you can use any adjective to modify any noun. So nouns and adjectives have to agree in gender and number and case, but their endings don't have to look exactly the same. For example, pater bonus. Pater doesn't have the same ending as bonus, but both are masculine, nominative, and singular, and so they match and they go together right. If the genitive singular is is, the noun is a 3rd declension noun. If it is us, it's 4th declension, and if it is ei, it is 5th declension. The direct object of a verb is in the accusative case. We've already talked about this before, I think, but we put direct objects in the accusative case. All right, you have a lot of vocab to review. So what I would recommend is to print this page. You could copy it, or you can just mark in your book if your parents are okay with it. I would go through and mark the ones that you need to study more. So the ones that you can't guess quickly are the ones that you need to review more thoroughly. All right, good luck on your test, and I hope I get to see you in person next week.